Good morning or evening, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday night loving kindness meditation. My name is Alex. It is wonderful to be here with you today, and with you all online. Hello, Jean. Is anyone here who's brand new to the Dharma Bum Temple? Awesome. Well, welcome. How'd you hear about us?
Through a friend.
Oh, perfect. Is there anyone here, you're not new to the Dharma Bum Temple, but you are new to Wednesday, the loving kindness class? Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate that. So this, really quickly before, can we, the fan, yeah. Awesome, thank you. Where was I? Oh yeah, sorry. Loving kindness, the reason why we're here. When we talk about loving kindness, that's like an American, or I should say an English translation of the word metta. And metta comes from the Pali language, and the Pali language is something pretty close to what we think the historical Buddha spoke. The historical Buddha spoke something called like just the Magadhan language, but we think it's pretty close to Pali. And when 500 years later, when the sutras and the Buddhist teachings were finally were written down, because there was an oral tradition the first 500 years, they were written in this Pali text, which was a liturgical language. But we think the Magadhan language is pretty close to that. Anyway, this word metta, when it's translated into English 2,500 years later, it could really mean just a lot of different things: unconditional friendliness, loving kindness, amity, non-harming, goodwill. And the reason why we use a lot of different, or we can use a lot of different, words to describe metta is it really helps when we're doing this for different people. If we're doing it for, people we don't like very much, the word love doesn't come tripping off the tongue. So we can use something like goodwill. I mean, you can have goodwill for somebody. You can wish that they do things that don't harm other people, right? That's easy enough to do. But if you're trying to wish love or happiness on someone you just absolutely do not like whatsoever, you have to use different words. And so I really like that about Buddhism, that you can use kind of different strategies to, depending on who you're doing this practice for. Okay. All right. So is there anyone here who's brand new to meditation as well? Nope. All right. How about online? So what we're going to do is we're going to do this meditation, loving kindness meditation. I'm going to guide it. So if you're worried about what to do and when to do it, I'll be your guide for that. And so what we're going to do is this, because I do it in a little bit of a different way. We're going to do loving kindness for our benefactor first. After we just kind of get connected to the breath, we're going to then do loving kindness for our benefactor. And the benefactor is anyone who has shown you great love and great kindness. So just call to mind the kindness that somebody has shown you, right? And we're going to do loving kindness for them. And then we're going to imagine our benefactor, could be the same one or a different one, doing this practice for us. And then we're going to do loving kindness for ourselves, and then we're going to do loving kindness for all beings. And so this is, again, this kind of a modified way of doing things. I really like doing it this way because in this culture where we're taught to hate ourselves and not be very kind to ourselves, we're conditioned that way a great deal. And so this is a really good antidote for that. So that's what we're going to do. And you can do it a couple of different ways. So you can either just radiate loving kindness for them, or you can you could repeat phrases of loving kindness for them. Phrases like, may I be happy, or may you be happy, may you be safe from inner and outer danger, may you be well in body and mind, may you be at peace and live at ease in this world. Because in metta, in this practice of loving kindness, it's not just a wish for ourselves and others to be happy. It's a wish for ourselves and others to do the things that cause happiness. Because we know this whole practice is an action. It's the verb of our life, this practice of loving kindness, this practice of Buddhism, right? And so we want ourselves and we want others to do the things that cause happiness, because you have to take action. You have to do something to be happy. It's just not going to like come at you. It's not like a magnet or anything like that. I hear these things, and this is kind of a controversial opinion on like general spirituality or New Age spirituality, but things like law of attraction and like be a magnet, it really annoys me. It really annoys me because you're expecting things just to come to you. You're just kind of supposed to sit there and wait for them to come to you. And we want our practice to be proactive, right? All right. Let's see. I was thinking, and we're going to get started here in just a minute. It's sometimes the little things that I like when I hear stories about Buddhism. And this is a story from a monk. This is a very brief story before we start. One of the things that the Buddha said was like, when you go teach the Dharma, you teach it in the language and the customs and the manner of the people you're teaching it to. So if you're teaching it to people in another language, speak their language. If they have a particular custom, just be wary of this particular custom and modify the teaching for this particular custom. And that's fine. And that's wonderful. And that's why Buddhism spread so easily to other countries, is because it was flexible enough to do that. One small example of that is, they had this is during the Buddhist time, they had these monks who went out in town and they were just kind of doing their thing. And one of the lay people sneezed. And today, if somebody sneezes, what do you usually say? Bless you, or God bless you. Even if you don't believe in God, you just say bless you or God bless you. It's just a cultural thing that we do, right? And 2,600 years ago, they did the same thing. When somebody sneezed, you were supposed to say, long life to you. Long life to you. So it's very similar, right? And so one of the lay people sneezed, and the monks didn't say anything. They didn't say anything, and the lay people were very offended, and they expressed their displeasure. How can you not say long life to you? The monks didn't think it was like appropriate. They didn't think it was enlightened behavior to say something like that. So with the lay people's displeasure, the monks went back and they told the Buddha about everything that happened, and they asked, "Well, what should we do?" And the Buddha just said, just say long life to you. It's fine. It's a cultural norm. It's not harming anybody. It's wishing them long life. Well, that's fine. And so that wasn't a problem, And so that's one of the things that I was just thinking about that, before class, and I just thought I'd share that, fun little story. All right. And so after the meditation, we're going to have like a question and answer time. I've been telling stories, Buddhist stories recently, and I'll probably have one about, I don't know which one I want to do. I have to think about this. I have two. One is about Ananda. And Ananda was the Buddha's attendant for the final 25 years of his teaching career. For the first like 20 years or so, the Buddha had many attendants. And being an attendant to the Buddha was a really hard freaking job. It was incredibly hard and all encompassing. And the Buddha said there just hasn't been anybody who's really been up to the task before um, before Ananda, and he was like of the perfect attendant. And so we're going to talk about his life, or we're going to talk about Devadatta. And Devadatta was the Buddha's cousin, and he hated the Buddha. He was the Buddha's biggest enemy. He like tried to upstage him and kill him and create a schism in the Sangha. And like, even though he was a follower of the Buddha, he only did it just to try to create a schism in the Sangha and just cause all sorts of havoc to the Buddha. And so that's a fun story. And of course, he never succeeded because, you're not gonna, right? But boy, did he try. And so we could talk about that. Let's all think about that. All right. Any questions before we start our meditation? Perfect. All right. So just allow your eyes to close, making sure you have that nice seated position that's nice and comfortable and nice and sustainable for you, so you're not likely to move around too much. If you're sitting in a chair or a pew and your feet don't quite reach the floor, feel free to use a cushion and put your feet on the cushion. That's perfectly okay, so you can get up and do that if you want. There are plenty of cushions available. So let's just get into our nice and comfortable and sustainable seated position. And at first, let's just get connected to the breath, because you always want to have at least 25% of your attention on the present moment. You want to be anchored to the present, and that's what the breath can do. The breath is our home, our anchor, that place we can always come home to, whether we're here in meditation or out experiencing our day. It's the breath is always with us. So let's just take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. Not forcing it, letting the breath be quite easy and quite natural at first. And then after a while, when you're nice and comfortable with the breath, you can experiment with the breath and see what kind of breath will keep you anchored to the present moment. Maybe a longer breath, shorter breath, a longer or a shorter inhale and exhale. And you're always encouraged to experiment, because it's going to be different for everybody what makes for a comfortable breath. So just for the next few moments, just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of the breath. And so to begin our practice of loving kindness, we're first going to think of a benefactor, a loved one, anyone who has shown you great love, great kindness. Someone you just think of this person and what they've meant to you and what they've done for you, and you can just smile because of it. It could be mother, father, brother, sister, best friend, teacher, mentor, someone you've seen on TV. So you could either just radiate loving kindness to them, wishing them happiness, wishing that they do the things that cause happiness, which is their well-intentioned thoughts, words, and deeds. Think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. Those are causes of happiness. And you can either just radiate loving kindness to them, or you can just repeat words of loving kindness or phrases of loving kindness like, may you be happy. May you be safe from inner and outer danger. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at peace and live at ease in this world. And smile when you do. We want to be smiling throughout this meditation. Smiling puts the mind in a really good mood. So for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness for our benefactor. And shifting our focus just a little from doing this practice for our benefactor to now just imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. You see, we already have the experience of their love and kindness in our own heart. So we just imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us, either radiating loving kindness to us, wishing us happiness, wishing that we do the things that cause happiness. Or you can imagine him saying these phrases of loving kindness for you, the same ones you used for them. Sometimes it helps to put your hand over your heart, because the only thing you have to really do in this meditation is just receive all of their loving kindness. Just receive it all. If there's part of your heart that feels, or body that feels any tightness or tension, any part of your body that says, no, I can't receive all of this, that's okay. Can you then just breathe into that part of the body, just giving it some space, letting that tightness hopefully work itself out. If it does, that's great. If it doesn't, that's fine. Just move on. And just keep on doing the practice of imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. And now, probably for the most important part of this meditation, is doing this practice for ourselves. If we can have that experience of loving kindness in our own heart and generate that in our own heart through our positive actions, thoughts, words, it will naturally become a wellspring of love that's perpetually renewing itself. It'll be no effort to never do anything to harm ourselves, to never do anything to harm another. Just call to mind your own wish to be happy, your own wish to be free from danger, be happy, healthy. And just repeat these phrases of loving kindness to yourself. And you could do one or more, it doesn't matter. If all you want to say is, may I be happy, may I do the things that cause happiness, that's fine. So we'll do this for the next few minutes, just loving kindness for ourselves. And finally, we can explore the limitless potential of the heart to have loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, goodwill for all beings in all directions. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be at ease. And just go as far out as you can, knowing that the heart has this limitless potential, spreading upwards to the skies, downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded. May all beings be at ease. Smiling when you do. So we'll do this loving kindness for all beings to end this meditation. open your eyes when you're ready. And let's take the next moment or two out in silence as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs, keeping that mindfulness of loving kindness about you. Not giving up on it just because we finished the meditation doesn't mean we still can't have and fill our mind with loving and kind thoughts. So we're just going to give it like another minute and then we'll begin. If you have a question or a comment on the meditation, would love to hear it. Welcome, JD. Thank you for coming. There was just something about this meditation that was particularly wonderful. I don't know what it is. In not only a Buddhist spiritual practice, but in other spiritual practices too. But we're taught not to chase after experiences. So many people are, they have a great meditation that's really concentrated and they feel so wonderful afterwards. And they think, well, the next time I meditate, I can't wait because I want that same feeling again. And then they end up, not being as concentrated and they think that they failed in meditation. And that just isn't the case. This is a lifelong practice. And in this lifelong practice, you're going to have a variety of experiences. And when you're training the mind, the mind doesn't, naturally want to be concentrated. It's a skill that you really need to develop. And the mind is very, very tricky, right? Very tricky. The ego is very tricky. It'll just claw and fight and just do everything that it can to say no, acts like a petulant child so often, but the more you practice, the better it gets. But even like experienced meditators, they have their days, they have their meditations that just aren't, as concentrated as they think that it should be, but everything, it always gets better. I'm a member of this other kind of spiritual kind of Facebook group. And so often they say, oh, I had this experience, and they describe their experience in detail about lights and whatever else, peacefulness and all those different types of things. And they get, there's very vivid visualizations. And then, oh, but then I meditated again and it wasn't anything like that. It was very scary. What did I do wrong? You chased after an experience is the only thing that you did wrong. Just let whatever experience that you're having just happen. I mean, we have, different ways in meditation to overcome like the 5 hindrances, like anger, like ill will, doubt, kind of sloth and torpor, anxiousness, all those different types of things. And we can use those, but they had, like I said, there's one of the 2 stories that I might tell next week. One of them is Devadatta. And Devadatta, again, the Buddha's cousin, very jealous of him, but was so good at meditation that he developed these supernormal skills these supernormal things. He can like appear out of nowhere, and he can have all these different types of supernormal powers. And he used them. But there came a time when he used them. No, there came a time where he thought to himself, I'm going to take over the Sangha. That thought came to him. I want to take over the Sangha from the Buddha. And when he thought that, all those supernormal powers left him. And even though all those supernormal powers left him, he was undeterred and he still tried to take over the Sangha. He didn't get the hint, and that's why, these supernormal powers are byproducts of meditation, but they're not the point of meditation. They're never the point. So let's do our best to not chase after experiences. It's just that this particular time it happened to be wonderful. And concentrated in my heart really felt like it grew, and I'm happy about that. I'm grateful for that. All right. So there is I'll let Travis make the decision. So Travis, next week, do you want to hear Devadatta or do you want to hear Ananda? Nice. I have a feeling that's what the rest of you wanted to. You're just too scared to say so. Devadatta it is. All right, so we'll talk about Devadatta. What a jerk. All right. In the meantime, anybody want to talk about any questions on the instructions at all? Hopefully they were relatively straightforward. How about your experience of meditation? I'm always interested to hear your experience of meditation. And the great thing about your experience is just your experience. There are no right or wrong answers. It could be something that you had particular difficulty with or particular ease with, or something that kind of came up in meditation that maybe you weren't expecting. Or a question about Buddhism. Doesn't really matter. Yes.
I think that I can identify with a little bit having a certain expectation for this meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I was like disappointed, but I just appreciate that you just shed light on that, because I think that was something that maybe affected even the quality that it could have been, even if I didn't have that.
And so have you done a lot of loving kindness meditation before?
Not maybe loving kindness like verbatim, like in particular,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely just like, I guess forgiveness, like letting go type.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's kind of,
Yeah, sure. And, and that's the thing, especially if you haven't done this kind of meditation before, that's going to come up, because this is not something that comes naturally to us in this culture, loving kindness for ourselves. I remember I was at this conference, this kind of new agey kind of conference, and some guy there was some speaker that I eventually left because he just wouldn't stop yelling. Because a lot of men do this mostly when they're giving a presentation. They tend to raise their voice, or they speak loudly, like they think that they are going to speak more loudly, that it's going to be worth more, or they're trying to get the point across more, and that just gets me more annoyed. Like, you don't really have to do that. It's just, to me, just very toxic, patriarchal bullshit. I really hate it. I really do not like it. So I eventually left. But this woman, he said something, and this one woman goes, "If you can't love yourself, you can't love anybody else." Oh God, that's not true. There's something similar to that is true, but not certainly not that. And especially when you're first doing this meditation and you're not used to it, and you're doing something that goes against all of your natural instincts, all of your natural conditioning that you grew up with, that you've been conditioned with even into adulthood. To have the expectation that you're supposed to get it right away, you're supposed to be gleeful and happy and all these different types of wonderful emotions right away is just not, you know, uh, it's not a good thing to expect. It's normal to try to kind of expect it, but it takes persistence, and it takes time, and it takes, because time, a lot of times it's like our loving kindness is bouncing against you know this kind of steel container around our heart so often, because we're so not used to this. It's like, I'm doing this and it's just not working. What am I doing wrong? Well, you're doing nothing wrong, most likely. You're just not used to doing this. You're not used to experiencing this. So of course you're not going, either not going to experience what you think you should, or maybe even experience the opposite. Like, this isn't working, so there must be something fundamentally wrong with me. That happens a lot, and that just isn't the truth. And that's the one in Buddhism. We don't teach that you're a sinner, or that you're dirty, or that you're inherently bad. We teach almost the exact opposite. Everybody has the potential for enlightenment. We're all suffering, and so our suffering gets in the way of that. But we're not like inherently bad or dirty or any of those things. We all have the seed of enlightenment. We all have this potential. Some people call it like Buddha nature. You may have heard that. But I was going somewhere with that, but I just lost it. So anyway, thank you for your question. I really appreciate it. Anybody else that's online, here? Was there any part of the meditation that was particularly easy that you felt that this is like, you thought, all right, this is cool. I get this. I can do this. Was there any part of the meditation that felt particularly, maybe a little challenging? No, it was all just kind of somewhere in the middle. All right. So next week, we're going to have probably a shorter meditation than this. This is like 29 minutes. It's a bit longer than I normally do, but I felt particularly good about it. So I just said, I'm just going to keep this going. So we're going to talk about Devadatta. There is a wonderful series on Netflix called The Buddha. And it's just about the Buddha from the time he was born, and his childhood, and his enlightenment, and his entire life. And it's Indian, and so it's in Hindi with English subtitles. I highly recommend it. And the great thing about these it's like one season, but the one season has like 52 episodes. So, and all 52 episodes are, I don't know if they're a half hour or an hour each, but they go through his entire life, and it's really so fun, and it's very Indian, meaning that in India, there's always like a antagonist. There's always drama, and a specific kind of drama that's generated. There is everything has a happy ending. So even and there's a big part a big part of that is after he's even in his childhood, he's battling against Devadatta, and so the entirety of the entirety of the series, Devadatta is in most of the episodes as well, trying to, one up the Buddha, trying to get him create a schism in the Sangha, to shame him in some way or defeat him in some way, and it never works. And it's where he's still trying, years and years and years and years and years into their life. So super fun. So it's on Netflix. It's just called The Buddha, I think. Have you seen it?
A little bit.
Yeah. All right. Anything else before we end today? Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming here. Wonderful to see you. Let's join our palms together at our hearts, please. And may the benefit of this meditation, this discussion, be received by all beings. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the radiant beings that they are, that you are. Thank you for coming. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you.
See you, Gene.